changing? Are they rosaries or what?
Okay.
No, and they will show. I mean, what's wrong with right here?
All right, we've got talking to it. So I hear you.
Testing. Thanks. In 97, I went to Rome and had an audience, and it was blessed by John Paul II. What can I do nice for you?
Yeah. Broken. I told you. Like you're in kindergarten again.
Ready, Renee? Renee, you ready? Mr. Mayor, at 7 o'clock.
I will call the January 15th meeting to order and recognize Councilman Julius Waits to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to say one thing before we have our invocation. Ronald Reagan made a statement one time, speaking to the Congress, that any nation that is no longer under God is a nation gone under. Would you join me in the Lord's Prayer, please? Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Next item is the reading of the minutes from December the 5th. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second. Any discussion?
Yes. Oh. We're talking about December 4th?
Yes.
December 4th, if you look at the second paragraph on the first page, Mrs. Condom led the Pledge of Allegiance. You want to delete that. I had, and again, this is a minor one, but if you go look on the second page, about halfway down, item F, the quotation mark is in the wrong place. It's in the front, it should be in the back. The nuns that taught me, it's coming out. That's and that's it.
Okay, wait, where was the second one?
Second was on the second page, about halfway down, a little bit further than halfway down.
Okay.
And it said item F, and the quotation was in the wrong spot.
Any other?
Got it, okay. You're right.
All in favor then of approving the minutes as amended for December 4th, do so with show of hands. Next is the minutes from December the 18th. Is there a motion for approval?
Make a motion.
Second?
Any discussion? Any amendments, changes? All in favor of those being approved as written, do so with show of hands.
About those, the out of order in red, I think that's good, because it was a big deal, so thank you.
And the minutes from January the 10th, is there a motion for approval?
Make a motion.
So move.
And, well,
Second.
Second.
Any discussion on those amendments, changes? All in favor of those being approved as written, do so with show of hands. Next is the administrative briefing. Mr. Brown, anything you need to add?
Yes, sir. Just one thing. We recently had a meeting with the Richland County penny tax people, and I was informed today that they have taken the East View Drive project off the list.
Took it what off the list?
The East View Drive. They were
Oh,
going to pave it.
Oh,
They took it off.
oh, okay.
They
Why
took
did
it
you do
off?
Yep, they couldn't get right-of-ways from everybody that
Oh.
lived on it.
We've had that problem before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a shame.
Anything else?
Do you have an update on the United States of America versus the town of Irmo?
No.
Beg pardon?
No.
There's no update? There's no reschedule with the DOJ being locked down, schedule a hearing or anything?
I'm no longer heading that up at all.
You're not, so you don't have, do you know, Bob?
No, last thing we heard was the DOJ requested to have it put off, delayed.
Till when?
They didn't have a date. They just requested from the judge that it be delayed until, I guess, the federal government goes back to work.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
so,
Government
okay.
shutdown, I guess.
Okay, so we're waiting on the government to reopen before they reschedule the hearing or whatever?
You guys should expect this to take at least a year.
I'm sorry, talking to the mic so I can't.
If I speak too much closer, you'll get the ringing thing. I can already hear it from back here. You should expect this to last a year and a half or longer, at a minimum. You've got discovery, you've got depositions, you've got all of it's going to be spelled out. You can check the what's called PACER, and at some point in time, the federal courts usually will set what's called a scheduling order,
Right.
and it'll spell out when they're going to do amendments, when they're going to do discovery, when they're going to do motions, when they're going to do mediation, when they're going to set the matter for trial, and all of this will be spelled out, and even that is not set in stone because attorneys routinely ask for that scheduling order to be modified as the litigation proceeds. So I would tell you to expect a minimum of a year.
But while all this is going on, we're being billed by the insurance company, or they're taking the onus to pay the bill or defend us. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We'll be charged hourly rate, how much time
Okay.
he puts into it. Right now, again, he's not putting any time into it now.
Well, right, because there's nothing to be done. But I'm saying,
Right.
according to what Eric just told me, the way I understand it is that we have hourly rates that will be charged to do discovery, to do depositions, to do all this stuff that has to happen before that, and that can go on a year and a half
That's correct.
from now, okay?
I mean, we have
So-
no idea. Yeah, we have no idea what the cost will be until it gets settled way down the road. We won't be paying any premiums or anything based on that until it is settled. We don't write a check to the attorney or anything going on until the case is closed.
Right, but the bill is,
We'll add up, yes, sir.
okay. Thank you.
Any questions of Mr. Brown on the briefing?
Well, I just want to bring up publicly that Renee Cavanis has graduated from the Municipal Association Clerks and Treasurers Institute, and congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations. All right.
We knew she was a smart girl.
Let's see. Next, we have the code enforcement update.
All right, Mr. Cadley,
Good evening,
I see the razor has met your face.
somewhat. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chris Caterly. I'm with the Code Enforcement Division at the Police Department. So this is the December 2018 Code Enforcement Update. It's a breakdown of the violations. We had 4 unsightly violations, 11 conditions for collections violation, 19 business license checks. That's not abatement notices. That's how many business licenses we check to make sure they have their license. There were 40 signs removed, 3 animal complaints, and there were 3 miscellaneous complaints. The miscellaneous complaints are related to a variety of investigations that may or may not have been a violation. This is a breakdown of the business license enforcement. Of the 19 abatement notices issued, 4 business license checks, 4 were complaints received by citizens, and the other 15 were encountered by officers on patrol. Front yard parking update beginning August 1st through December 31st. We had 205 residents that have been issued abatement notices. 2 residents were issued tickets for not complying within the grace period, and the zoning administrator, Brown, has a list of 69 properties that are approved per PADS, and it was last updated on January 8th, 2019. And that is it. Does anybody have any questions?
One question. There was
Yes, sir.
a list of car break-ins. How many of those cars were unlocked? Do you have that possibly?
Somebody, I know Sergeant Dale has that stat, but it wasn't with this because this is just the code enforcement update. I can get that later for you if you want to have the chief.
Are you talking about the ones that were on this police report? Yes. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, the monthly update for December. I see the car break-ins, but none of them are indicated whether or not the car was locked or unlocked or there was forced entry. Is that something we need to? You want us to start putting that next to the auto break-in sheet that y'all get?
Well, if you leave things visible in your car and you leave your car unlocked, people are going to help themselves these days. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Would you guys want us to start letting you know if it's
from time to time the percentage? Sure. Just
we can look at the narrative and find out whether or not there was forced entry.
Well, these are people who are reporting it, right? If the people don't report it, then we won't know about it. So, I mean, these people are reporting it, right?
That's correct. People who report it, that's how we respond to their house.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Thank you. Thank you.
You got to be a little more colorful next time, man.
Oh, the chief wanted me to dial it down a little bit. From
What? Come on, chief, man. It's the highlight of my life, so he'll give a report.
Next is amendments to the agenda. Any? None. Next is consideration of communications, and I think Whit Klein wanted to speak on the rain barrels. So,
Council, March 15th, the Lexington County Stormwater Consortium will be holding a rain barrel workshop here at the town of Irmo. That's a Friday morning. We're going to do a educational talk about stormwater here in the courthouse, and then we'll go down to the Public Works facility and put together the rain barrels. The charge is $15. We are trying to get people in the Dutch Fork area to participate in this rain barrel workshop. So if you live in Chapin, Irmo, St. Andrews area, this is your opportunity to do the Build-A-Barrel workshop. So the fee is $25, which covers the cost of the materials, and will assist with putting the rain barrels together. If you want to do this, you can go to the Lexington County Stormwater Consortium website and get the information there. We got a flyer here tonight, or you can call the Lexington County and they can sign you up there. So all the information is on the flyer, and it's on the town website also. Thanks.
Thank you. And we also got a flyer. I don't know, was Jada here? If she wanted to speak on the Easter egg hunt. You don't? All right. But just to let everybody know, there's an Easter egg hunt in Irmo on Saturday, April the 6th at 4 p.m. at our community park. And if you need to, or if you want to, make some donations to help with the eggs and all that stuff. Let me give your email. Where'd she go? Jada Powell at Jada Powell. Nope. I'm not reading this right.
It's down here at the bottom.
Jada Powell at Jada Powell.
No.
Know what it says?
Jada W. Powell at gmail.com.
Oh, okay.
It's just down the bottom. It is there. It is.
Well, it's got two things on here. I'm reading both. That's why I couldn't.
That's why there's 5 of us.
Oh, okay, good.
You're right, to read the one paper.
Yeah. And thank you for putting that on. And I also wanted to do a shout out to Clemson for winning the national championship, and also a little bit to Alabama because they were from the SEC.
We don't
and
need your.
they still represent
your
South Carolina, but a good thing for South Carolina, for Clemson.
Now I think we should mention Barry's chili cook-off.
Yep.
Well, I was going to do that when he got through. But
Yeah.
Well, mention it, Barry. Go right ahead.
Yeah, Saturday, the 19th at 1 o'clock, we're going to have our great Irmo chili cook-off at the community park, and it's free. We have over 6 turkey fryer pots full of chili to be sampled by the great chefs of Irmo who have entered. It doesn't cost you a dime, but the only catch is we have an education for educator from the MUSC Transplant Center in Charleston is coming up to give a presentation on living kidney donation for everybody who's under 30,000 miles or less and want to donate a body part. They will be glad to tell you how to do that. No, I'm just kidding. It's just anybody who wants to donate kidneys and stuff to people that need them. And the presentation is about 15, 20 minutes. But the chili cook-off is from 1 to 4, or until we run out. We also have been graciously given gifts from two Irmo businesses. Liberty Tax has donated a raffle off a free tax return to anybody who comes and enters a ballot to judge a chili. We'll raffle off a free tax return. Thank you, Liberty Tax. Steve Classic Burger has donated $50 in gift certificates for burgers. After you had chili, you can go to his place and have burgers. And he also will have Max on Main world famous peach cobblers available there. And all this is to generate money for the National Kidney Foundation. So any money raised, we will make a donation to the Kidney Foundation. At the same time, you can win yourself a $50 donation, a free tax return, and eat great chili all afternoon. And I'd like to see everybody out there for at least 1 hour and try it out and see how it works. And if it is, we'll be making an annual event. Saturday, 1 o'clock in the Irmo Community Park. Thank you.
Just a question. Is everybody going to judge? You're going to put a ballot in everyone's hand?
Everybody who comes will be filling out a ballot after they taste the chili and put their name on it and throw it in the box. And then we have the judges. We have 2 judges that will pull them out and tally them up. And they will pull out the winner of the first chili cook-off, which will be a $100 prize for the best chili in Irmo and bragging rights for the next 12 months. So. Saturday the 19th at 1 o'clock.
It's coming Saturday.
And by the way, we have a lot of vendors, a lot of sponsors who have donated. We have law firms that have donated cash prizes. We have Matthias Sandwich has donated cups and spoons and everything. It's really, Dunkin' Donuts is giving us donuts and coffee for the chefs in the morning. It's really turning out to be a bigger event than I thought it was going to be. And it's all free. So come out 1 o'clock, rain or shine, have some chili, and enjoy yourselves.
Cool. Any other consideration of communications? Seeing none. Next is presentation by citizens for agenda items only. Anyone who would like to address something that's on the agenda tonight may do so at this time. Just give us your name and address and which agenda item.
All right. Eric Sickinger, 417 Crestville Road. I'm here to speak in favor of Resolution 1902. Every pet, if you care about them in the slightest, should be chipped. The chances of your lost pet being returned to you if they are not chipped are basically like playing the lottery. If they are chipped, it's like 75%. Plus, with all of the great community networks and boards and Nextdoor and Facebook, that probably is even higher in our community. So please, chip your pet, and I am in support of that resolution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And anyone else? Seeing none, we have no unfinished business tonight. Next will be new business. This is the approval of the resolution 1902. Not Richland, but Lexington County just changed their animal control ordinance. And so we have to kind of let them know that we're agreeing to whatever they change. Then we also agreed to allow that. So is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
And I don't know if, do you remember the three things, Bob, that were on there that they, one had to do with the kids?
The big changes were mandatory sterilization, microchipping, and a managed intake for owner surrendered dogs.
And something about the cats?
No cats. No cats.
Well, they still have their cats. I mean, they have the surrendered cats along with clerical changes in the actual ordinance, but they have their, and I don't know exactly the word without reading through here that we accepted last year, but they have a cat program, you know, where they'll neuter them or spay them, and then they'll put them back where they found them.
I thought Mo and Irma are safe. I mean,
they'll pick them up and they'll fix them and they'll put them right back where they found them.
oh, okay.
That's their program. They don't keep
okay.
them. They won't put them. They won't house them.
Keep them anymore.
Mo and Irma are the town cats, by the way, for anybody who don't know that. They freely run over there, and we don't want them confiscated by Richland County or Lexington County and not returned. So
And they are rotten.
they are spoiled rotten.
The town hall's done a wonderful job with them.
And any more discussion? All in favor of the resolution 1902, do so with show of hands. Next is the approval of the 2019 orchestra budget, and
Council members, thank you. In our meeting last week, the commission approved a budget slightly above. We're growing. It's gone well so far. Every year we've in the last several years we've increased the revenue sufficient to cover increased costs as the festival grows. So we've covered, the cost of the town of overtime, police, et cetera, through the years, and we've, very proud that we've moved up the amount of community involvement and sponsorships on the strut. So this budget would be, I believe that's about 6% increase over last year of what we were able to do last year. It's based on some pretty conservative numbers, something less than were able to raise last year, but also asking Richland County to recognize us as a little bit bigger festival in the face of Richland County. So we are again going to ask them for a little bit bigger support. Mm-hmm. So I'll be happy. I think all of you have copies of it. I'd be glad to answer any questions you've got.
It's going to be the best ever.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask a couple of things, and I wanted to let council know too. I'm going to be talking to Councilman Malinowski. The Sparkleberry Fair is no longer, and they used to get, I don't know if you remember, but it was like 30 or 40, but they got a good chunk. So I'm going to try to ask him if he can give us more, hopefully. If y'all want to meet with him too, two of us can meet at a time, without three. Or anybody can call them on their own too. Or if you know any other Richland County council members, we need to be pushing them to, we're the only festival on this side of town in this district, in this part of the county, District 1. And even with all that, last year they gave us 5. We asked for 10 and got 5. So hopefully with nothing else going on in this area, and with that one gone, maybe we can try to persuade him and others to give us some more of that. So that's something we as a council need to kind of do as we can, is see what we can talk to about them. The other thing I wanted to ask, under the beer and wine sales, you had $4,000 in the budget, but you had none coming in, and then you got $3,000. Did that get moved into another category, or?
No, sir. Quite frankly, it's a combination of two things. We have a very, how can I say, involved process that we put together, and it's been more profitable for us, but it involves us doing some bookkeeping. And we were slow. They still owe us money, but it's not really that they haven't paid. We've given them the number, and then he's out of town. I expect to have it within a week or so.
Okay. And
it's a late payment, and I regret that. But
okay. Will it be somewhere in that same dollar amount?
No, sir. We anticipate it being lower. The contract that we negotiated, we're very proud of, because it increases our revenue, but we're sharing the risk. So when the sales are down, we disproportionately lose our share of income. When sales are up, we get a much bigger share. So it's one of those risk and reward things. And in short, I don't know what you're asking, but just essentially what we do is we bid the contract based on exactly the cost that we'll have. We want this many bartenders for this many hours, et cetera. And then we pay all the cost of that, and then we last year we had our best bidder was a 60%, 60-40 split then of the income over the profits. So we were doing a 20% just on the gross. We now, the last couple of 3 years, I believe, we've done it based on a percentage of the excess revenues or the profits that are sold. So it's been more profitable for us. We've gotten more money, but again, it's some complicated math that we have to go through with the vendor.
And the only other thing I wanted to ask is, under the expenses, under the donations, we didn't do as much actual last year as budgeted. Is there a reason for that? We just hadn't done it yet, or?
So the question for the budget, 18 versus 17, is that right?
Yeah, it went from 10,000 budgeted, but we only gave out 47. So I didn't know if there was a reason we just didn't do the scholarship.
I get confused,
like
to be honest, year-to-year budget, keeping up with our annual year and the town year. We maintained the level of scholarships in prior year. In 2019, we voted to double our scholarships. So that will go out in essentially April or May. I don't know, somebody tell me whether that hits 18 or 19 budget. Yeah. I get really confused at this point. But that'll be 4,000 of it. What we gave then was the 2 $1,000 scholarships, and then the other 2,700 were to community groups. Now, the other thing we've done, and again, I'm pretty good with numbers, but exactly where they come in a town budget's a little confusing to me, I got to confess. But we're bidding for some improvements to town or community park as well. We don't have those numbers yet, but we've approved. We've asked for proposals to do that, and that's widening some of the pathways, adding a couple of pathways, but things that we see as improvements to the community park. So that's coming. Again, we haven't been showing that out of our budget. We've been showing that just coming out of reserves.
Right. Okay.
Can you address the marketing media? You budgeted 9,000 and you spent 14.
And that's correct. We intentionally, as we got towards, trying to think of our dates, but as we got into June and July, our fundraising, what we had done in scholarships, we had raised a good bit more than we had forecast in our budget, and we quite frankly felt like we had to promote the festival more than we had put in the budget. So we, in our meeting and commission, we looked at it. It wasn't an accidental thing, but we said we need to spend $5,000 more in budgeting to get this festival moving last year. So I'm never quite sure exactly how to do that, whether I want to come with you every time we look at something for a budget, but that was one intentional move that we said we've got to have more advertising, and we spent it on. I mean, it was a mix of radio. We picked some billboards up, digital billboards, and that sort of thing. So at the point we approved doing it, we had already increased our revenues in that amount as well, or in excess of that amount, actually.
Okay.
Any more questions? Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Thanks, Larry.
And so we need an approval for the 2019 Oak Strut budget in the amount of $119,800. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second. No.
Any discussion? You ready to vote?
Mm-hmm.
All in favor then of the budget approval in the amount of $119,800, do so with show of hands. Next is presentation by citizens for anything and everything. Anybody wants to discuss, all we ask is you give us your name and address for the record. Seeing none. We have an item on our agenda for discussion, and I think Bob put some stuff in the administrative briefing. I don't know. Does that stuff show up on the screen by chance? Oh. Well, I'll try to go over some of this stuff, but he has spoke with Mid-Carolina and SE&G on the street lights, and trying to find out, one, about changing them all out, or if people want to add them in their yard or additional ones. But Mid-Carolina, and I'm not sure who did the math here, but it says they have currently have 160 sodium, 175 mercury, and 26 LED. But he also has that they would change out 135. I don't know why they only do 135 as opposed to whatever the 160 and 175 is together. But
No, that's a typo. 335.
oh, so it's 335. Okay, good. So they would change them all out and add LEDs. The upfront cost to the town is $155,851.80, and an increase in the monthly bills of the residents. And that's only the Mid-Carolina side. If they change them out, which they are currently doing, once the light bulb goes out, they are currently all putting LEDs on them. They have to change out the fixture and everything too. But they're doing that right now for no charge to the town and no charge to the resident as they break. But if we wanted them all changed out at one time to the LED, then it would cost $155,000, and there would be an increase in the bill. Even though the LED is cheaper, the cost of the labor and the fitting and all that stuff is more. So
The initial cost is way up.
yeah. And SE&G, they're doing an audit to determine how many lights they have in town. But they estimated their current cost to be about $510 per fixture as far as an upfront cost. And then they would change them out to LEDs. And then they'll let us know what it will cost total and what it's going to be. If somebody is in the SC&G area and they want to add additional light on their property, they will come and do that. No upfront cost, but the bill would be $25 a month to that property owner. Right now, in some of the areas, the older neighborhoods, they bill either everybody in that neighborhood or so many homes wherever that light is. They don't do that anymore. When they do a new subdivision now, they put them in one name. That's the builder's name. And when that builder goes, he turns it over to the homeowner if they have one. If they don't, then they go off. Or somebody has to pay it. Wow. But they no longer do that split billing like they used to. But they will add more lights if a property owner wants it on their property. They don't charge anything up front, but it goes to $25 a month. instead of, whatever the other one is.
$14.50 right now.
Oh, okay.
SC&G.
And, I know there was some stuff on one of the pages not too long ago, and some of this, so I kind of felt like Bob needed to get all the information so that we would have it and we can share it with people. But SC&G probably has more than Mid-Carolina, so they may be $200,000 to change them all out at one time. And I just don't know if that's something the town would do or wants to do or not, but that's what it's going to cost. Or if the people want to add something themselves, they can. They just have to be on their property. And if you go around and check those things, I can think of about 3 or 4 or 5. It's not a lot, but it's still over the years where people have told me they didn't want the bulb change. And when I asked them about the tree that was growing over, they planted it there for that reason. So, there may be some people that want some, but there's also some people that don't. Depending on where your house is at and where the light is at, I've had some people complain to me that they're in their bedroom. For the other neighbor, they might be in the living room, shining, but how the houses are. So, some people like them, some people don't. But I wanted to put that on there just so we'll have the information, and as Bob gets the other information from SC&G, then he can share that with us.
And I wonder if things are going to change with Dominion taking over.
Probably not.
It might, yeah.
And the important thing to understand, too, is from what I understand from Bob, is they can put the LED light in. It's not going to be any brighter. It's not going to cover a bigger path. It's going to be the same light.
LEDs are normally bright.
I thought the LED was supposed to be a brighter light. It gives out more luminance.
Well, the ones that I put in my house ain't technically any brighter. They might be cheaper, but cost-wise in the electric bill, but they cost a whole lot more up front, too.
That was the whole conversation on the Facebook page, is that a lot of areas are dark, and they were saying, well, can't they go to a more efficient LED light to brighten up those areas that are dark? I don't know the answer to that, but I'm saying that was the conversation.
What they told him, and part of the problem is, too, and I don't know that much about the mercury vapor or sodium, but when they put that brand new bulb in, it's going to be brighter. But 10 years down the road, it's going to be dull.
Okay,
so when they switch over to an LED, it might be as bright as the other bulb was brand new, but it really, technically, they ain't going to be any brighter.
I think that we need to, if we can put it out there on our page, if there are areas that are dark, that the lights are out, if they have trees that are growing up that are covering them, and people feel like they need to have more light in that area, if they will let the town know, we can certainly make the contact to SC&G or Mid-Carolina to ask them to fix those bulbs. But as far as just flat out replacing them, there is going to be a cost involved. And now we get into another situation. But if the bulb is out or if the bulb is covered up, we can certainly have those fixed. That's not unreasonable.
We can have the bulb, from my understanding from Bob, replaced if it's out, burn out.
Right.
But if there's a tree growing on it, they won't come on the property and cut somebody's tree. They won't trim it or anything. That'd be up to that property owner to do it. But like I say, some of them have intentionally grown those because they didn't like the light. So,
well,
you see, Barry, what they told me at both SC&G and Mid-Carolina, they bought the new LED lights so that they would not change the footprint, which is why they're not brighter. When the lights were put out there and built with the subdivision, they each had a certain footprint to cover whatever the area is.
Right.
And the new lights, the LEDs, yes, they're more efficient. They're probably cost them less to purchase, but they didn't want to change the area that those light covered. That's correct.
Okay.
So they're exchanging lumen to lumen is what they're changing.
That's correct, yes, sir.
All right.
And they'll be happy to put them out there, but for the areas where there's darkness in people's yards, they would need a light in their yard if that's what they want.
Not the yards. The conversation on the Facebook page was there were streets that had lights that were out and they were dark, and they wanted some light on those streets. Now, where they are, I don't know. Maybe we can put it out on Facebook and have the people report back to us where they are so we can go look at it and see if there's a bulb out or, whatever. But as far as switching them all out from the sodium to LED, it's cost prohibitive to us.
And I don't know how
More.
efficient, but I know our police department, when they're out riding around, they check them. If they spot them, they all have a number on that pole that you can call.
Not Mid-Carolina.
Mid-Carolinas don't, just SNG.
You have to tell them the address.
Give their address.
Burned out.
Yeah.
5th year I lived in Irmo and hasn't burned out since. So it's been burning now for almost 20 years.
It's a good bulb.
It's a good bulb.
And this information, can you put it out on the listserv as to?
I can put it on the listserv. We can put it on Facebook. We can also put something on the website. Like Barry said, people need to let us know, where they are. I mean, we got 5,000 houses, so it'd be a little hard for us to drive around and find them.
Yeah, I mean, if you put the information out, they call us back.
They can call if they want to add one to their property. That'd be Mid-Carolina, call this number, and here's what it's going to
That would be the number that's on their bill, whether they're SCNG or Mid-Carolina. They'll be happy to put them out there. They normally take about a week to get the light, but they're going to pay for it. That's why I say it's an increase.
And is the fixture itself look different than the one that's on there now, or just the inside of it?
The fixtures are different and the lights are different, yes.
Okay. So they just take the whole top off and put another thing on and put a new bulb in it?
In some places, they've been putting the whole new pole and fixture and the LED.
Any questions or discussion?
No, but if we do have very dark areas of certain neighborhood, if we know, I think that's a legitimate cost. If it's really going to help car break-ins or whatever, there's bound to be some that we really need. Not all of them, but.
One thing I just happened to think of too, I was under the impression that we had something in our ordinance that said every so many feet, every so many homes, whatever. We don't. SCNG and Mid-Carolina have something in their guidelines that when a neighborhood gets built, they go in and kind of say, and it's one for every 4 homes or 6 homes, Bob? 6.
They're different. They change, and it depends. Mid-Carolina, SCNG. It used to be like Mid-Carolina was 1 for every 6 homes when they built Flyers Gate 40 years ago. Now it's 1 for every 4.
Oh, okay. So that'll help some too in the future.
Yeah.
And that's with more lumens, probably.
Correct.
Yeah.
Any more? Next item is, I think, nothing. Executive session, none. Motion for adjournment.
So moved.
And second.
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Kathy, you can watch NCIS.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
How you doing?